Hey there, MMO Anthropology. My name is Mustard Tiger, and I play Star Trek Online, and I'm part of the Reddit Alert fleet.
Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to another MMO Anthropology. I'm here in Star Trek Online with Mustard Tiger, who is with the Reddit Alert fleet. Say hello to everyone.
Hello, MMO Anthropology.
And my first question, of course, is why did you choose Star Trek Online?
Well, that's an easy question for me because I've been a Trek fan for, the last 10, 12 years now. I wasn't into it when I was younger, but I got into it around the time that the Next Generation DVDs came out, about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, I've had a real, passion for all things Star Trek. So when I heard that this game was coming out 2 years ago, I had never played an MMO before. I was a complete virgin on this game, didn't know experience and XP and PvP and PvE. I didn't know any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I kind of had to put a toe into the deep end of the ocean and just dive right in. And it's been almost 3 years now, and I still like playing the game. I did take a long hiatus because the early game state was a little bit not well fleshed out, but I came back. It's still Star Trek. I love it so much.
And interestingly enough, can you tell us a bit about the place that we're in right now?
Well, this right here, this interior is our Reddit Alert Fleet Starbase. This was first introduced in Season 6. It's currently Season 7, so this is just fairly brand new to the game. As fleets progress, we can add certain things like into the decor. When this started out, it was fairly Spartan, but now we've added this conference table. There was a DJ over in the corner. We have an aquarium. A whole set of uniforms, every Enterprise ship ever shown. It's actually really interesting. The KDF version of this, I should say the Klingon version of the Starbase, is also very interesting. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see that right now.
I might get some shots of that for the people at MMO Anthropology then.
Yeah, you should. I'm actually in our sister Klingon fleet. I don't know if you have a KDF tune.
Oh, I do.
I can show you that also. The Klingon, it's really interesting. They have Orion slave girl strippers.
So, what kind of MMO games do you play on a regular basis? I'm assuming that this is definitely one of them.
Well, to be honest, I spend so much of my time gaming in Star Trek Online that I have no time for any other games. No other MMO games, that is. I do game outside of Star Trek Online on the side, but I spend, easily maybe 3-4 hours a day on the weekdays, and on the weekends, maybe 6 to 8 hours.
Wow. So, my next question would be, what goes into helping you choose a particular MMO game? And I think you described some of that when you were talking about why you chose Star Trek Online. And I guess I'd modify that question because now it's pretty much the only one that you play. What has kept you playing this game?
Well, and that's the thing. When I first started playing the game, like I said, the game wasn't very fleshed out. So even though I spent $300 on a lifetime membership, I quit after the first maybe 30 days. It was just not very good back then. But Cryptic has done an excellent job continually adding to the game that when I came back in late July, I haven't left, and I'm not going to leave until they shut the game down because now I'm hooked. Mm-hmm. What keeps me going is that being in the Reddit Alert fleet, a very social fleet, a very well-known fleet within the game, full of colorful other characters that people like. Cat girls, love them. That keeps me going, but also the fact that Cryptic, like I said, keeps adding more new content. It keeps the game fresh, although the end game is getting a little stale. But I have inklings that they'll keep adding to it, so I'm sure that they'll work on it because I think a lot of people in the game are already at the level cap, level 50. So I think Cryptic is well aware that they need to add end-game content. I think what really keeps me going in the game is the reputation system that they've added, that gives you passive and active abilities on top of your endgame character. So that's more of an endgame that they've added. And I know that they're talking about in the future of adding more reputation projects. Right now, I think there's only 2 reputations: the Romulus and the Omega Force.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a mini Farmville thing, I mean, if you know about the duty officer stuff, it's kind of all time gated. You do something and then you wait 20 hours and something like that.
Right. A lot of the dailies and many of the missions are based around waiting a day or a few hours or something like that before you can run off and do them again. Which brings me to, as I understand, Reddit Alert is a fleet that's based around the highly social website Reddit, which is the fleet that you're with.
Sure.
I expect that you do a lot of stuff with them. What is your typical day like when you get to put a considerable amount of time into playing Star Trek Online?
Well, ever since it used to be pre-Season 7, it was so much different. But then Season 7 came out, and it changed the game so much. I mean, if you were around and you were active in the game, there was a huge community backlash against Season 7. Unfortunately, a lot of angry and mad things were said, but to the credit of the Cryptic developers, the developers at Cryptic, they made a lot of changes very quickly to address the backlash that the players had. Mm-hmm. Now, pre-Season 7, I had a whole routine worked out. But after Season 7, they changed so many things. Now, I usually start the day with a Foundry mission. Now, I haven't spoken yet about the Foundry, but the Foundry is interesting in that Cryptic has added a part of the game where users can create their own missions, and other users can play through them. Now, it's actually quite clever on the part of Cryptic, because there are only so many Cryptic-made missions, whereas the Foundry, you almost have now endless content. Mm-hmm. And so Cryptic has made missions around using the Foundry where you're awarded with the in-game currency Dilithium if you play through a Foundry mission of certain length. The Foundry mission has to be at least 15 minutes long, or else people then would farm Dilithium.
Right. If I recall correctly, there used to be a thing where people created a Foundry mission called something like ESD Broken Panel, where Cryptic would give people Dilithium for running the Foundry missions because they were trying to push people into using the user-generated content, but of course people were making stupidly simple missions, and one of them, the ESD Broken Console, was basically you went to Earth Space Dock, you clicked on a panel, and it completed the mission. And so Cryptic decided to get rid of this, to say, see, people stop gaming the system. We want you to actually experience this user-generated content. And I'm using that term because anyone who's been watching MMO Anthropology over the years will remember my lessons in the use of user-generated content in MMO games. And the Foundry is an excellent example of that, especially in, here in Star Trek Online. So one of the things I'm wondering from your point of view, Mustard Tiger, what is one of your favorite Foundry missions that you have ever...
I mean, I have only dipped a toe into the Foundry because pre-Season 7 I was doing what they were colloquially known as clickies.
Right.
I would just go to the ESD console and I would click it, and that gave you 1,440 Dilithium a day. It was like... It would take 5 seconds.
So it's just a Dilithium slot machine.
Yes, basically. And I would do that on each character that I had. I had like 5 tunes. Mm-hmm. So, that was like 8,000 Dilithium a day, and that was like 50 Zens or 50 cents. So, it added up after a while.
And for people listening, I've done a video or two on the economics of Star Trek Online, and what he's talking about is the in-game currency Dilithium can be traded for the pay currency Zen, which at the time was called C points, but that's been changed to the Perfect World Entertainment Zen. Just so that you know, that's the pay currency.
Yes.
But go ahead, Mustard Tiger.
And I just want to say the way it works is $1 equals 100 Zen.
Right.
So 50 Zen would be 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now it's actually changed where a day's worth of Dilithium is now like 92 cents because the Dilithium economy crashed after Season 7.
What are some of the things that people were particularly angry about at the advent of? Was it said you? Did you say it was at the beginning of season 7?
Yeah, right at the well. The problem with season 7 was that Cryptic had came down with a number of changes to the economy, the Dilithium economy, and they had said certain things. And what happened was they had made the changes. See, they have I have to go into this. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
They have a they have a test server called Tribble. So they pushed the new Season 7 changes to Tribble, the test server, a week before it was on the live server, which is called Holodeck. Now, the changes that were on Tribble, people were okay with. That's what Cryptic had said. However, when the changes came to the live Holodeck server, they were different.
Oh.
So where they had said one thing and it happened in the test server, once Season 7 went live on Holodeck, the normal, regular server, they were different. Dilithium was different on certain drops, and it just made people mad because it was like a bait and switch.
Right.
You know, they had said one thing, they had done one thing, and then then when Season 7 came around, it was totally different. And a lot of people were gobsmacked by it. I know a lot of people in the fleet were extremely mad because they had been told this and shown this, and they thought it was going to happen, but no.
Right.
Also, I think a lot of the people were using the duty officer system, and I don't know if I should explain this.
No need. No need, actually.
The duty officer system, you could grind very rare duty officers just by getting them and from simple missions and then grinding them common ones all the way up to very rare.
Right.
Now, at the beginning of Season 7, Cryptic added a dilithium requirement to that, so when you were grinding duty officers up to the very rare, now it's going to cost a lot of dilithium, whereas before it was completely free. So, I think to get one very rare duty officer, it took 125 common. So now with the dilithium requirement, it would take, I don't know how much dilithium, but an extreme amount. I mean, where it used to be free.
No segue here, but the next question really is, how do you use online games differently than you do other entertainment, like watching television or movies or reading books?
Well, I mean, obviously I think the appeal of MMO games is the online connected community. Obviously I play other games, and there's multiplayer in other games where you can play with 10, 12 people at a time, but in an MMO game you're playing with obviously thousands, and it's interesting because I believe there's more of a social community inside an MMO game, and a culture develops inside a game, and at the beginning you don't know what that culture is going to be, but it's been nearly 3 years now, and that culture is fairly well fleshed out. It's kind of interesting. I think it's interesting the phenomenon of troll fleets within the game. I think I know that it's a phenomenon within other games.
Indeed.
But it's interesting how it worked out in Star Trek Online.
Could you name a couple of the troll fleets in Star Trek Online for us?
Well, obviously the most well known would be Starfleet Dental. They were, I believe, they're a something awful offshoot. And there's, of course, a Shut Up Wesley.
Right. Which
is a famous quote from Jean-Luc Picard of Star Trek.
Right. What do you think sets these fleets aside as being troll fleets rather than a standard type?
Well, and this is interesting. There is an area within the game called Drozana Station. Now, this is an actual station that was in Star Trek canon. It was from the original series, and a lot of, for some reason, I don't know how these people came to be, but they're known as erotic role players. They have gravitated towards the Drozana Station, and as such, the troll fleets have frowned upon the erotic role players, and they go to Drozana, follow them around. Unfortunately, the developers have added into the game, into the first and second anniversary, things called party poppers. And I'll actually display one right now.
Sure. Go ahead.
This was the second anniversary party popper, the explosive party popper. Or no, I'm sorry. This is the first anniversary. I'm sorry, but there was another one just like this. As you can see, I'm shooting tribbles.
Right.
It makes all kinds of different noises, and the troll fleets will take these party poppers and they will stand next to the erotic role players and they will just do this nonstop.
Oh.
It makes noises and all kinds of things. So I mean, I guess it's very upsetting to the erotic role players, unfortunately for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what the troll fleets will do. They'll also have funny type characters. I believe Starfleet Dental had a Hitler lookalike contest in December.
Yes.
So they do pretty much everything they can to troll other players within the game. They get quite inventive too.
Indeed. Well, I'm at the point where I'm going to need to wrap this up, but I'm going to give the last word to you, which is my final question for everyone is, what is the most memorable thing that you remember from playing an MMO game? Like an event or a place. It can be anything. Your favorite or most memorable.
Geez. You know, it's hard to say memorable. I've only been playing this game for so long. I guess what's really memorable was the Q's Winter event that they just had, the Q's Winter Wonderland. That was a lot of fun, and actually now that it's gone, I miss it.
With the race and attacking the giant snowman?
Well, what got me was the music they had in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I used to just sing along with it.
Yeah, there were a lot of people on the forums asking where the soundtrack was for that.
It was really well done, actually. I was quite surprised.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank everyone for watching, and I also want to thank our guest, Mustard Tiger, for coming along and talking about his experience in Star Trek Online.
I'd like to thank you.
No, thank you. You're welcome. And for everyone watching, thank you so much for coming online along with me. And this has been Amherst with MMO Anthropology, and I have Mustard Tiger at the table with me. To the rest of you, good night and good dreams.
Do you play online games? Do you have Skype? Then we'd love to interview you on Massive Online Anthropology. Join the fascinating thousands who've spoken about their online gaming experience and be the envy of all your friends. Or at least get the MMO Anthropology Geek Merit Badge. Sorry, no t-shirt. See you then!